My fiancée and I had been together for 8 years. At the engagement gala, she suddenly announced she was marrying her male assistant, publicly mocking me as someone from a small, rural town trying to punch above your weight. My Eleanor, wearing a custom-made designer gown she'd saved up for with great effort, was humiliated and beaten by them. Her custom-made designer gown was cut to shreds with scissors, and they forced my Eleanor to kneel and apologize. My Eleanor was so enraged, she collapsed and eventually passed away. Yet, she only cared about her male assistant. She even demoted me and threatened me for his sake. After I completely gave up, I broke up with her, resigned, and took my colleagues with me to another company. Later, she discovered her male assistant had deceived her. After the company went bankrupt, she killed him in a fit of rage, and then she too died a tragic death. At the engagement gala, my fiancée and her male assistant made it official. It was the 8th year of my long-term relationship with Olivia, and she said she wanted to make our engagement official. Overjoyed, I called Eleanor, asking her to rush over for my engagement gala. So my future in-laws wouldn't look down on me, Eleanor took out all her savings to buy an expensive custom-made designer gown, and dressed up meticulously before heading out. When it was time to make it official, Olivia actually walked onto the podium, arm in arm with her male assistant, their gestures incredibly intimate. Tonight, besides celebrating the company securing a major project, we also have a momentous occasion to announce. I've decided to marry Brandon. The moment she spoke, everyone turned to look at me, their gazes filled with mockery, sympathy, and disdain. Eleanor, clearly confused, stood up and asked me, "Son, didn't you say tonight was your engagement to Olivia?" I looked at Olivia, hoping she would explain herself. The next second, she coldly stated, "Someone from a small, rural town trying to punch above your weight." Utterly ridiculous. As soon as Olivia finished speaking, she didn't spare me another glance and walked away with Brandon. She then chatted happily with those who were mocking Eleanor and me for being out of our depth. I was left heartbroken and at a loss, while Eleanor began to blame herself. "Son," she said, "did we burden you? Is it because you weren't born into a good family that people look down on you?" I wanted to quickly reassure Eleanor, telling her it wasn't true. We might be small town folks, but we became wealthy through our own hard work, and we were no worse than those city dwellers. But Eleanor suddenly clutched her chest and crouched down, her face pale and trembling slightly. She accidentally bumped into a woman in a black fitted dress behind her, who turned out to be Brandon's sister, Ashley. "Ugh, you old hag, how dare you bump into me, and spill wine all over my dress." Ashley's face darkened, and as she looked down at Eleanor, her tone became incredibly malicious. "Hi. So it's you broke loser. What's this? Your son couldn't manage to marry my sister-in-law, so you're resorting to dirty tricks behind our backs. Do you even know how expensive this dress is? My sister-in-law had this custom-made designer gown made just for me, and you ruined it. You're going to pay for it." Before I could stop her, Ashley slapped Eleanor across the face. "Ashley, stop it. I can pay you for it, but my Eleanor didn't do it on purpose. You need to apologize to her." Our commotion drew the attention of Olivia, who was some distance away. She walked over, her face dark, flanked by security guards. Without asking what happened, she immediately started yelling at me. "Ethan, do you always have to make me frustrated? You've ruined this perfectly good evening." In a fit of pique, Olivia splashed the wine she was holding onto my face. Seeing this, Eleanor's self-blame intensified. She tried to stand up to apologize for me, but her stomach was in such unbearable pain that she couldn't speak. "Sister-in-law, it was his Eleanor, who deliberately spilled wine on me, and cursed my brother for taking you away." Hearing Ashley twist the truth, I was furious. "You're lying, apologize." Olivia cut me off, roaring at us. Eleanor and I hadn't done anything wrong, so there was no way we would apologize. At that moment, all I cared about was Eleanor's safety. Knowing she was having stomach issues, I needed to get her to a hospital quickly. Seeing that Eleanor had no intention of apologizing, Olivia completely lost her temper. She ordered the security guards behind her to seize me, forcibly demanding that Eleanor apologize to Ashley. "Ethan, make your Eleanor apologize to Ashley right now. Everyone's watching. Are you deliberately trying to make me look bad?" "Olivia, my Eleanor is having stomach issues. Tell them to let go. I need to take her to the hospital for a checkup." Brandon walked over and, with a string of sarcastic remarks, said, "Hi. Not having stomach issues earlier, not having stomach issues later, but suddenly having stomach issues when she needs to apologize to Ashley. Do you take us for fools, easily manipulated? Oh, so you're trying to play games with me." I was about to explain, but Ashley cut me off. "Since she won't apologize, then let's give her a taste of her own medicine." She suddenly found a pair of scissors and walked towards Eleanor. I struggled desperately, terrified, but couldn't break free from the security guard's grip. Rip. Ashley simultaneously cut Eleanor's custom-made designer gown with the scissors and tore at it forcefully. Olivia, make her stop. This kind of humiliation was more agonizing than if Eleanor had been killed. Eleanor cried and struggled, now in too much pain to even resist. In that moment, I felt utter despair. I had wanted her to come happily to the engagement gala, but I never imagined it would turn out like this, with her being casually humiliated. Olivia, I misjudged you completely. More and more people gathered to watch, but Olivia simply looked on, indifferent, then leaned into Brandon's embrace, ignoring my pleas. Eleanor felt deeply ashamed. She gave me one last, profound look, then collapsed, unconscious from the pain. Perhaps sensing my coldness, Olivia immediately pulled away from Brandon's embrace. She glanced down at the unconscious Eleanor and told Ashley to stop. I kicked away the security guards and rushed over, nervously caressing Eleanor's face. Fearing for her life, I scooped her up and ran. Olivia chased after me, blocking my path. Ethan, there's a reason for what happened tonight. Take Eleanor home first. I'll come back later and explain everything to you both. As Olivia was about to leave, I called out to her, Olivia, I don't care what your reasons are. Eleanor has really collapsed, and we don't have a car. Please drive us to the hospital right now. All I cared about then was Eleanor's safety, everything else could wait. As Olivia was about to agree, Brandon walked over and pulled her into his arms. Olivia, don't leave. Don't leave me to face all these important guests alone. With Brandon's plea, Olivia ultimately chose to stay. No matter how much I begged, it was useless. She just turned and walked away. Since she was so cold and indifferent, I stopped begging her. Carrying Eleanor, I walked out. This was a hillside district, and it was hard to hail a cab. By the time I managed to get a taxi and rush to the hospital, Eleanor had already stopped breathing. The doctor said she was brought in too late. If we had arrived a little sooner, they could have saved her. That night, I held Eleanor's body and cried until dawn. Looking at her face, marked by the regret with which she left, my self-blame grew even stronger. I knew there were no what-ifs in life, but I still wished time could rewind. Just then, Brandon updated his social media post. He and Olivia were wearing matching engagement rings, intimately embracing and kissing. I can finally marry the most beautiful and wonderful woman in the world. I saw that Olivia had liked his post, giving him permission to share it. Heartbroken, I took out the matching rings she had given me that year and threw them out the window. I also commented on Brandon's social media post, wishing you a happy marriage, may you grow old together. After commenting, I turned off my phone. Alone, I quietly handled Eleanor's funeral arrangements, taking her ashes back to our family home for burial. Once everything was settled, I returned to the city. There were still some things to deal with. The moment I turned on my phone, I saw Olivia had sent me hundreds of missed calls. There were countless text messages too. I deleted them all. Right after I deleted them, Olivia's call came through. You finally turned your phone on. I thought you were dead. Even through the phone, I could sense Olivia's slight excitement, mostly surprise. Seeing I didn't speak, she lowered her tone and began. My engagement to Brandon, that was because he helped me secure a major project, and his condition was that I get engaged to him. Don't worry. It's just an engagement, we won't actually get married. So you don't need to be angry anymore. Look at you, you jealous type. I gripped my phone tightly, so enraged that the veins on the back of my hand bulged. That project, I had already finalized with the client, but they insisted we drink hard liquor to see who could hold their liquor better. I drank with them until my stomach was almost bleeding, all to get the contract signed. Unexpectedly, during my hospital stay, Brandon sabotaged it, claiming he had secured the project. Before I could even mention it, Olivia said she wanted to announce our engagement, which made me forget about the whole thing. What angered me even more was that if she had agreed to Brandon's condition, why didn't she tell me sooner? I would never have brought Eleanor to that event. After Eleanor's death, I spent a few days calming down, and many things became much clearer to me. Olivia, it's fine. Even if you marry him, I don't care. Olivia immediately raised her voice, her tone unpleasant. Ethan, stop playing hard to get after getting what you want. I'm not falling for that, and stop with the sarcastic remarks, or I'll really make it real and make you regret it for the rest of your life. Regret. I scoffed to myself. My biggest regret was ever being in a relationship with you, which ultimately led to Eleanor's death. Fine. Then I'll absolutely grant your wish. I won't bother you anymore. And now, I'm breaking up with you. Olivia hadn't expected me to defy her. She froze for a moment. This was the first time since we met that she had seen me act so coldly, and even suggest breaking up. Suddenly, Brandon's smiling voice came through the phone. "Olivia, bring me the boxers from the bed. I'm naked right now. You don't expect me to walk out like this, do you?" Hearing this, I already guessed they were living together. That's why they were so ambiguous, having her bring him his boxers. Olivia must have gone to get the boxers, which led to Brandon's prank. "How about Ms. Olivia helps me put them on?" Olivia agreed without hesitation, then coldly told the phone, "Ethan, you want to break up? I'll grant your wish too. But remember this, if you regret it later, you won't be able to win me back." Before she could finish, I hung up. What they would do next was obvious without even guessing. But I was no longer hurt, nor did I feel any chill in my heart. From that day on, Olivia never returned to the home she once considered warm and welcoming. She used to be very clingy. When I cooked, she would insist on hugging me from behind while waiting to eat. Now, looking towards the kitchen, only a cold emptiness remained. The laughter and joy of the past had long vanished without a trace. "Olivia, I'm giving up on you." I rolled up my sleeves and began clearing out everything that connected me to her. After finishing, I took a shower, lay in bed, and had a good night's sleep. The next day, when I returned to the office, my colleagues looked at me strangely. "Director Ethan, what took you so long to come back? You're still calling him director. Be careful, Director Brandon might hear you and kick you out of the company. Didn't he warn us? Ethan is now Director Brandon's assistant. You should change how you address him." Hearing these rumors and gossip, I realized that Olivia, for Brandon's sake, had demoted me without my consent. She had Brandon take my position and even wanted me to be his assistant. With unprecedented rage, I stormed into the conference room. Olivia was holding a meeting with the employees. I grabbed Olivia and pulled her out. "What is the meaning of this?" Olivia bit her lower lip, pulled her hand away from mine, but wouldn't meet my gaze. "I think Brandon is more suitable for that position." Hi. I was practically laughing from anger. From the company's inception until now, I had always been like a tireless dog, running business for Olivia. Where was Brandon then? Just a good-for-nothing, who only knew how to climb by relying on women. And now she's forcing me to be an assistant to a good-for-nothing. Does he even deserve it? If it hadn't been to help her back then, I wouldn't have turned down offers from major companies, rejected high salaries, and started this venture with Olivia. But in the end, I just ended up paving the way for Brandon. Alright, being Brandon's assistant isn't something to be ashamed of. How about this? When things settle down, I'll go back to our family home with you to see Eleanor, and I'll apologize to her. I quietly watched the ceaseless Olivia, feeling more and more like I didn't know her. The love I once felt scattered like shooting stars at that moment, never to return. "Olivia, my Eleanor won't have the good fortune of you visiting her. What I said about breaking up that night was real, and my resignation now is also real." Olivia froze, then frowned, looking at me with displeasure. "Ethan, how long are you going to keep this up? I'm not making a fuss. I've just come to terms with some things. Isn't it better for me to make space for you too?" Olivia's face turned scarlet with anger. Just as she was about to speak, Brandon walked out. "You can't leave yet. Even though the project has been secured, someone still needs to follow up on it. If you leave, I'll fire all the employees who've been working hard with you. I'm sure you wouldn't want to see them lose their jobs and income, right?" I narrowed my eyes, looking at Brandon with a dangerous gaze. "And you? Do you agree with his approach?" I looked at Brandon, a small-minded person getting what they want, but addressed my words to Olivia. She didn't speak, seemingly tacitly approving of his threat. In that second, my heart completely turned to ashes. For the sake of my colleagues, I temporarily endured it. Seeing my agreement, Olivia smiled happily. "That's right, isn't it? Work well with Brandon, and when he gets promoted to manager, I'll give you back the director position. Alright, don't be angry anymore. I've already had a designer create a new custom-made designer gown for Eleanor. I'll personally give it to her then." After that, Brandon treated me like a dog, constantly demanding coffee one moment, and forcing me to give him massages the next. When Ashley came to the company to see him, they would both boss me around together. I constantly told myself to stay calm, not to act impulsively. Because I was secretly contacting the company that had offered me a high salary to recruit me before, and I introduced those colleagues to them. Since Olivia didn't know how to value talent, I'd let them have a better platform to showcase themselves. After learning about their exceptional talents, the other company readily agreed with a smile. After all these arrangements were made, Brandon initiated a video call with me. The moment I opened it, some unseemly heavy breathing filled my ears. In the video, Olivia, shedding her usual aloofness, was getting intimate with Brandon in a very suggestive manner. Strangely enough, I wasn't angry. Seeing Olivia, I felt mostly calm. It was as if she were a stranger. Brandon sent it to me, simply to provoke my anger, to make me act impulsively and cause a scene, so Olivia would continue to hate me. But he guessed wrong. At that moment, I was already sitting in the waiting area, ready to embark on a dream trip I had always wanted to take. And I blocked and deleted all of Olivia's contact information. When Olivia returned to the company with Brandon, her new assistant, Ashley, ran up to her. "This is bad, sister-in-law. Ethan and all his colleagues quit without even collecting their last paychecks. And the people from the collaborative project are here. They specifically asked for Ethan to be on the project to continue the partnership." Upon hearing Ashley's report, Olivia simply focused on cursing me. What the hell is Ethan doing? Where else could they go besides Sterling Solutions? Who else would take them in without hesitation like I did? When Olivia said that, did she forget something? Sterling Solutions reached its current position entirely through the hard work of me and those colleagues. Now that she's grown confident, she thinks she's capable all on her own. That useless Ethan. It's bad enough he's gone, but he also dragged his friends along to scavenge for scraps with him. No sooner had he finished speaking than another employee rushed in. "Ms. Olivia, those colleagues are now working for a rival major company, and both the benefits and salaries are better than ours." The employee dared not continue, as Olivia's face grew darker, and her rage more intense. The air instantly grew thick with tension, and no one dared to speak. Only Brandon shrugged indifferently. "So what? Sterling Solutions can still reach greater heights with me." "Exactly. My brother is even more capable than that Ethan. Who does he think he is?" Hearing this, Olivia felt Brandon was right. "Olivia, since Ethan dared to stab you in the back, why don't you just truly break up with him? I love you so much, and I've been waiting for your answer." This time, Olivia didn't speak, her expression dazed, lost in thought. "Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's go back to the conference room, the partners are still waiting for us." Olivia had forgotten again, they had specifically asked for Ethan, not Brandon. When they walked into the conference room, they were greeted with smiles, but the partners remained cold-faced. As I failed to appear, the partners lost their patience. Brandon, realizing what they were thinking, embellished the truth and slandered me with all sorts of nonsense. "Are you waiting for Ethan? Don't bother." Because his work performance was poor, he was demoted to my assistant. He couldn't accept it, so out of pettiness, he took all his former colleagues and resigned. Bullshit. Who do you think you are, daring to speak about my friend like that? We agreed to work with Sterling Solutions out of respect for Ethan. Everyone knows his capabilities. Staying at a small company like Sterling Solutions was already beneath him. How dare you spread malicious rumors about him now? After speaking, they stood up. "Since Ethan isn't here, the partnership is off. We can afford the small compensation fee. Go back and inform everyone. Find out where Ethan went, make sure to locate him. We want to offer him a high-paying position." "Yes, sir." Olivia panicked and quickly reached out to stop them. "Did you just say you agreed to partner with us, because of Ethan?" "Yes." Olivia almost instinctively looked at Brandon, who visibly flinched. "No, that's impossible. It was clearly Mr. Brandon." The partners immediately looked at Brandon with eyes that regarded him as trash. "Him? Hi. It seems Ms. Olivia's judgment is truly poor. A mediocre talent who repeatedly fails in investments and is all talk and no action, yet has the nerve to claim credit for it. For this project, Ethan, despite knowing he couldn't handle strong hard liquor, forced himself to drink with us, leading to a stomach hemorrhage and a hospital stay for recovery. We waited for him to recover, which is why we pushed back until now to discuss the partnership. Since you were foolish enough to drive him away, don't just expect us, but other companies probably won't want to work with you in the future either." "What?" Olivia's eyes widened suddenly. Her panicked expression wasn't due to future company problems, but because Ethan was the one who had secured the project. She looked at Brandon, enraged and humiliated. "Explain yourself. It was clearly Ethan who secured this project, yet you insisted it was you. How dare you lie to me? Ms. Olivia, for someone in your position, you should know that in the workplace, there are countless unscrupulous people who will scheme behind your back. And I've heard about your affairs. You willingly believed him for your own personal gain. I truly feel sorry for my friend. Let's go." The partners were no longer willing to stay and simply turned their backs on Olivia and left. Ashley, who had just arrived and was unaware of the situation, cursed at their retreating backs. "Pay. If you don't want to cooperate, then don't. My brother is so capable, he'll land bigger projects sooner or later." "Sister-in-law. Shut up. Don't call me sister-in-law. I'm your boss." Can't you call me Ms. Olivia? Ashley was stunned by Olivia's furious outburst. She didn't understand why her sister-in-law was yelling at her. Olivia turned to Brandon, her face grim. I'm utterly disappointed in you. She then took out her phone to call me, but to her surprise, her number had been blocked, and the call wouldn't go through, leaving Olivia flustered. She suddenly realized something, pushed Ashley, who was blocking her way, aside, and rushed out. Ethan, you fool. Why didn't you tell me? But she had forgotten that she was the one who had never given me a chance to speak. Olivia used all her connections to search for Ethan's whereabouts, but to no avail. She rushed home, only to find an empty room. All my belongings were gone without a trace. Olivia stumbled in panic, her body hitting the wall, remaining in a daze for a full half hour. Her already panicked heart plummeted to rock bottom. Her heart felt hollow, devoid of life. It was as if her most important possession had suddenly vanished, and she feared it could never be found again. How could this happen? Ethan's gone. Is he disappointed in me? I need to find him, and bring him back. I'll go right now. Olivia muttered to herself, then drove to our family home to find me. I had once asked her to come back to the countryside with me to visit Eleanor, but she had seemed disgusted and immediately refused. Now, however, she was in a predicament, not knowing where my home was, so she inquired everywhere. Hello, is this Willow Creek? A woman in her 50s nodded in affirmation. That's wonderful. Do you know where Ethan's home is? He's this person in my picture. Olivia showed the woman a photo of herself and me, and the woman suddenly understood. He's my nephew. Oh, what a tragedy. A while ago, he suddenly came back and told us his girlfriend had agreed to marry him, so he took my sister-in-law out, saying he wanted her to meet his future daughter-in-law. But she went, and what came back were just ashes. Such a vibrant person. How could she fit into a small urn? How is Ethan supposed to live after this? Upon hearing this, Olivia's face instantly paled. Recalling that night, a feeling of dread kept surfacing. I later found out that Ethan's girlfriend suddenly made it official that her fiancé was someone else, not him. My sister-in-law already had stomach cancer and couldn't handle shocks, but it still triggered her condition. I heard that girlfriend even prevented my nephew from taking my sister-in-law to the hospital, and then her boyfriend's sister used scissors to cut my sister-in-law's custom-made designer gown. How could my sister-in-law be okay after such humiliation? She was a very conservative woman. That fiancé of Ethan's was just vile. If she didn't like him anymore, why didn't she just tell him clearly instead of playing with his feelings like that? Olivia could barely stand. The strength in her body seemed to drain away as if pulled by spirits, and she suddenly went limp. She fell to the ground, as if struck by lightning, trembling all over. It was all true, then. That night, she had seen my Eleanor collapse to the ground, crying out in pain. Yet, to protect Ashley, she had forced the old woman to apologize and allowed Ashley to cut Eleanor's custom-made designer gown to shreds with scissors. Ignoring her cries, ignoring Ethan's pleas, at that time, she only had Brandon in her heart and eyes. What she did was undoubtedly the act of a murderer, killing Ethan's Eleanor, her own future mother-in-law. At that moment, her panicked expression betrayed her, and my Aunt Susan noticed her suspicion. You wouldn't happen to be my nephew's girlfriend, would you? Olivia's silent sobbing increasingly confirmed her suspicions. So it was you. You have the nerve to show your face here. Slap. Aunt Susan delivered a heavy slap across her delicate face. You've utterly ruined our family, and now my nephew's whereabouts are unknown. How cruel can you be, to play with him like that, and also cause my sister-in-law's death? Olivia finally broke into sobs, letting Aunt Susan hit and scold her. If it were before, her proud and arrogant self would have fought back long ago. But now, she dared not. She even wished Aunt Susan would hit her a few more times to alleviate her inner guilt. Aunt Susan, can I go to Eleanor's grave? I want to burn incense and pay my respects. Impossible. You have no right to pay your respects to her. And don't call her mother-in-law. You're not part of our family, so don't pretend we're relatives. I'm also afraid you'll defile my sister-in-law's grave. After all, you're the one who caused her death, so why are you crying now? Get out. We don't want to see you. But Olivia insisted on going to pay her respects, and was beaten and scolded by my Aunt Susan and the villagers. She was covered in injuries, lying on the ground barely alive, and was eventually sent to the hospital. Yet, engulfed in pain at that moment, she couldn't imagine how desperate I must have been back then. Her own girlfriend getting engaged to someone else, even causing Eleanor's death, demoting him for Brandon, and tacitly approving Brandon's threats against him. Each and every one of these acts was enough to condemn her. She had caused me such profound suffering, I would never forgive her. Olivia, who regretted every decision, took out all her savings and hired a private investigator to find my whereabouts. Ethan, I will definitely find you, and bring you back. When I do, I'll kneel before you and apologize. When she returned to the company after recovering, she personally witnessed her employees being lorded over by Ashley and treated like cattle. She saw Ashley walk into her office, plop down in her chair, and put her feet on the desk, acting as if she were the queen. Brother, we finally succeeded. No, not yet. We only drove Ethan away, but the company still belongs to Olivia. So, brother, try harder. Use every trick to keep deceiving Olivia. Make her completely infatuated with you, and get the company into your hands. Then it won't be too late to dump her. Ha 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 ha. The siblings discussed their next scheme together, both laughing triumphantly. Outside the door, Olivia, upon discovering their plot, felt nothing but anger and hatred in her heart. She trembled with rage, her face almost turning a purplish red. Bang. She kicked the door open and walked in, radiating a murderous aura. The laughter inside instantly ceased, and Brandon and Ashley instinctively stood up, startled. Oh, Olivia, why are you back? Olivia didn't speak. Instead, she picked up a heavy object and hurled it at Brandon. A conflict erupted between them, and the three of them devolved into a brawl. Far away overseas, I visited many places. These were all places I had dreamed of seeing while in college, hoping to travel to every corner of the world once I had money. Olivia was by my side back then, and she also said she would accompany me to achieve this dream. But now I was alone. The person who had vowed to accompany me was no longer the same. Unbound by work or love, and unburdened by life's fragments, I enjoyed every day to the fullest. I had also seen through all worldly matters. If something isn't meant for you, the harder you try to hold on to it, the more it slips away. Why not just let go? During my travels, I received calls from Olivia using a new number. I knew it was her, but I didn't answer. I blocked every new number she used. To me now, she was just a passerby in my life. My disappearance, meanwhile, caused a stir in the business world. Many companies sent people to find me, all wanting to recruit me. A year later, after fully letting go of the past people and events, I returned to the city, which felt both familiar and strange. Before returning, I had contacted friends, and agreed to work for their company. The moment I stepped out of the airport, I saw the people who had come to pick me up. Ethan, welcome back. We embraced warmly, and after some pleasantries, I followed them to see the company. On the way, I learned that after news of Olivia demoting and driving me away spread, many companies stopped collaborating with her. And Brandon truly was useless. He managed the company increasingly poorly, leading to continuous losses. Later, the two grew to detest each other and went their separate ways. As for Olivia, she had no heart for running the business while searching for me, causing the company to decline. When I heard this news, I just laughed it off. I deeply regretted wasting several years of my life for her sake. Aunt Susan also called me, saying that Olivia had finally found Eleanor's grave, and often came to kneel at the grave in repentance, hoping Eleanor would forgive her. If only I had known, things would have been different. I got out of the car and walked into the new company. Having been in the business world for so long, I felt no unfamiliarity and immediately started working. You really are a workaholic, my friend teased me. Can't help it. Still gotta make a living? I smiled and teased him back. My boss was a stunning woman, usually reserved and serious. But after work, she would always take me to dinner, saying we needed to discuss work matters, company plans, and the future. In her, I seemed to see a reflection of myself. I didn't feel any aversion towards her. In fact, I really connected with her. I remembered when I was building the company with Olivia, I was always dancing a lonely dance. There were some things she just didn't understand. Victoria, however, was different. She understood instantly and was very cooperative. Ethan, I wish I had met you sooner. Victoria raised her glass and clinked it against mine. I smiled and replied, it's not too late now. After that, we exchanged a smile, understanding each other perfectly. Just then, an uninvited guest arrived. Ethan, it really is you. This is great, I finally found you. Seeing Olivia again, I thought I would still be somewhat stirred emotionally after loving her for so many years, but I wasn't. Seeing her truly felt like seeing a stranger. I put down my glass and picked up a napkin to wipe my mouth. Olivia, who couldn't hold back any longer, rushed over and hugged me. Victoria watched, intrigued, to see how I would handle this. I pushed Olivia away in disgust. Ms. Olivia, are you out of your mind? Please don't forget who you are. You're Brandon's fiancée. Don't hug the wrong person. Olivia, pushed away, hastily spoke. Brandon isn't my fiancé. We broke up a long time ago. I know you're holding a grudge right now, and you have every right to be angry with me. I admit I did wrong, and I've made it impossible for you to let go. Olivia saw the coldness in my eyes, and finally bit her lip, saying no more. So, you think the mistakes you made can be fantasized about being forgiven with just a few words? If I had killed your entire family, and then told you I was sorry, and asked for your forgiveness right now, would you? Olivia fell silent, her eyes red-rimmed, looking at me unwilling and resentful. Since you can't do it, why should I forgive you? Leave. Get out of my sight, because I don't want to see you. Olivia stood rooted to the spot, sobbing silently. Seeing her cry, my heart was calm. Before, whenever she cried, I would immediately try to comfort her. But now, I just found it annoying. Ethan, I still love you. Olivia grabbed my hand again. Can you give me one more chance to atone? Fine, then go die. This left Olivia completely speechless, and she also felt confused and bewildered. Her arrival had interrupted Victoria's and my conversation. I was about to take Victoria to find another spot when Olivia finally looked at Victoria, her expression shifting from sadness to anger. Ethan, who is she? You haven't come back to see me, and you won't forgive me. Is it because of her? I was practically laughing from anger at Olivia's idiotic question. She thought my leaving was just me throwing a tantrum with her. Olivia, I don't need to answer your questions. Who do you think you are? Faced with my cold words, Olivia became convinced of her own guess. Are you in love with her? I had no more patience to speak with Olivia and prepared to leave with Victoria. But Olivia blocked our way. She insisted on knowing the answer, otherwise, she wouldn't give up. Since that was the case, I decided to grant her wish. Yes, I am in love with her. She's so good, so outstanding. As a normal man, who wouldn't fall for her? After getting her answer, Olivia stood motionless, as if frozen. I then took Victoria and left immediately. Outside the door, Victoria stood with her arms crossed, smiling. Ethan, well played. You're using me as a shield to get rid of your ex-girlfriend, aren't you? I'm sorry, I acted impulsively. I quickly apologized to her, but Victoria didn't mind. Then work hard with me, climb to the top of the pyramid, and everything will be possible. After saying that, Victoria winked at me, helping me relax and smile. After that, Olivia frequently came looking for me. She would wait outside the company entrance, saying she wanted me to return to Sterling Solutions. She claimed that if I came back, everything would be fine, and she would even give up the CEO position. Every time she finished speaking, self-absorbed, I would just roll my eyes and walk away. With Sterling Solutions now practically defunct, why would I ever go back? She chose Brandon herself back then, so now she had to face the consequences of her foolishness. Not long after, Sterling Solutions finally declared bankruptcy, and Olivia seemed to age significantly overnight. She knelt on the ground, weeping in despair. The company is gone, so what can I use to beg Ethan to come back? As long as the company was still there, I had hope, but... Olivia closed her eyes in pain. Just then, Brandon and Ashley sneaked in. They didn't see Olivia in the shadows, preoccupied with rummaging through things. Brother, I remember Ethan's notes and project proposals were kept here. If we get them, we can sell them for a high price. Then let's find them. The two furtively searched through the files. Suddenly, with a snap, the office lights came on. Brandon and Ashley froze, turning their heads around in alarm. Brandon visibly relaxed when he saw it was only Olivia. Then he and Ashley simply ignored her presence and continued their search. It was only at this moment that Olivia truly understood. Brandon had always been using her to climb the ladder, with no love whatsoever. And her current predicament was entirely his doing. Suddenly, an unprecedented hatred and murderous intent surged within Olivia. She picked up a chair and threw it at Brandon, but unexpectedly hit Ashley instead. But Ashley was not one to be trifled with. Damn it, you despicable bitch, how dare you hit me? I'll kill you. Brandon, however, didn't intervene, letting the two of them fight. He was completely focused on finding things. Pie. Do you still think you're some high and mighty CEO? After Ethan left, you're nothing. Oh. I almost forgot. It was your foolishness, listening to us, that drove him away. You totally deserve this. Ashley relentlessly mocked Olivia. Olivia's hatred escalated into murderous intent. She immediately pulled a knife from her bag, and stabbed Ashley directly in the heart without hesitation. It's all your fault. Die. All of you, just die. If it weren't for you, too, Ethan and I would have been fine, grown old together, and been happy forever. Brandon saw his sister injured and kicked Olivia down. Ashley began to bleed. Terrified and in pain, she begged her brother to save her, saying she didn't want to die. Brandon, his eyes bloodshot, picked her up, ready to leave. But Olivia had gone insane. She picked up the knife again and fiercely stabbed Brandon in the back. She stabbed, pulled out and stabbed again, leaving Brandon riddled with stab wounds. She herself couldn't escape either. All three were covered in blood, and one couldn't tell whose blood it was. Before long, all three lost consciousness and died in the office. I learned this news during a victory celebration. Our company had finally opened an overseas branch office, and was continuing to compete to break into the Fortune 500. I looked at my phone, where the news was broadcasting the Sterling Solutions Company murder case. Olivia, covered in blood, had fallen into a pool of it, and died with lingering resentment. Victoria walked over. "Congratulations, you've made it. Now I guess I'll have to call you Mr. Ethan." I put away my phone, and exchanged a smile with Victoria, continuing our conversation. Let the people and events of the past be like shooting stars that passed and vanished without a trace.